welcome back to an episode. Are you happy, Peter? We're in the middle of something important.
Welcome, but there's a process. I know
There's a
like
process,
you love to live life by the seat of your
interrupting
pants and just let me fill in the gaps and take care of you. But geez, you're stepping all over me today, bud.
So sorry, Nick. We were so rudely interrupted by that intro.
That's all right.
It's good to have. I want to introduce you real quick. So everybody knows Dr. Nick is Dr. Nick on IG. You've got like 100,000 followers or something like that?
I think so, yeah, right around there.
So, I mean, that's a legit influencer, but you're funny to me. When I started following you, someone shared me your profile, and I was literally dying with your impersonations of different types of dentists. Man, you nailed it. If there was such a thing as dental humor and a forum for that, like you're leading the pack with that.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
How do you guys know? How do you and Craig know each other?
It's via Instagram.
You slid in, Craig. You like to say it. Go ahead and slid into the DMs.
I did.
And he said, "Dude, you're so funny. Your dental humor is off the charts. Come on the podcast."
Yeah.
Nick, you're a pediatric dentist, right?
Not in my wildest dreams. I would never do that.
Oh,
he does make fun of them.
I make fun of them. No, I'm not a pediatric dentist.
Okay, you know what? Like as Craig said, hey, check him out. One of the videos I saw actually was you. I guess you were. It was a spoof on pediatric because it was kind of funny.
Endo-oral surgery.
Okay,
so good. So good.
Slow learning. So Nick, give us your background. How long have you been out? How long have you been out of school?
Yeah, so I graduated in 2017. I did a year of residency because it's required in New York. After I did that, then I thought I was going to be a cool Manhattan dentist. So I started working in Manhattan for 2 years. And I was commuting from Jersey, and I was working at like 3 offices at the time. And then I just dropped Manhattan. And now I currently work at 4 different offices in Jersey, and I'm starting a practice for myself that I've been working on since August. So we're getting close to closing on a lease finally. And we're just kind of waiting for something from the bank, but it seems like it's going to happen relatively soon.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Tell us a little bit about that practice you're going to build, if you don't mind. How many ops? What's it going to look like?
So it's going to be 2,600 square feet, 7 operatories.
Good.
Primarily what I like doing are cosmetic surgeries and stuff like that. I've worked at a bunch of high-end offices, so like that's the way I'm kind of trained. And I'm a Kois guy too. So I'm hoping to make it that sort of practice, to be honest with you. So yeah, that's where I'm heading.
So Nick, what I love about this, and obviously, this is, you and I have had not much time together now, on the verge of about 6 minutes now. And what I like and what I've deduced from just kind of you and just hearing you talk is that you work at a lot of different locations, right? But you took it on yourself to create the brand of you, right, with your following, because you knew that would always follow you around, right? So you are in a great position for opening up your own practice. And Craig and I talk about this all the time. It's like the solopreneur. Some people say like, well, I'm just an associate. What can I do? And you took the other side, and it's like, look, I'm going to get my learning and get the chops and learn things from people, but also create Nick the brand when I then go to my next steps in life, in my next practice. So I love that. I love that you didn't just become complacent and like, well, one day when I have my own practice, I'm going to do this. And one day, you said, hey, I love it. Did I deduce that correctly? You did.
I got to give my ex-girlfriend some credit though, because she was the one like years ago when I was in my residency. That's when I started. Or actually, no, it was like my 4th year of dental school. And she's like, oh, have you seen Dr. Mike on Instagram? And I was like, no, who's this guy? And she was like, why don't you try to be like the dentist version of him?
It's funny you say that. My wife said the same thing to me. And it's so funny you say that. I actually changed my IG profile because at first it was Peter Boulden, right? And my wife has like 60,000 followers because she had some TV what am I trying to say? Reality TV shows. And so she's like, you need to do this. And so I literally, you bring this up? I changed it from Peter Boulden to Dr. Boulden because Dr. Mike was having such a good success with it. So I was like, let me do that too, right?
Hey Peter, you know what Dr. Nick and Dr. Mike both have in common that you don't? They actually go on their Instagram and open that shit up at least once a week.
Well, I
send stuff to Peter. It's like 2 months later. He does not even understand. It never goes on. It's incredible.
Craig, this is not true though. I mean, I used to live and breathe on it and like be really, when I was practicing clinical, right, and creating that clinical brand and this and that, I was on it all the time. But it becomes so habitual almost that like literally you spend every waking moment, saying like, oh, well, who's, you do a post, you spend all this time on the post, and then you spend all day watching like, well, how many likes have I gotten, and who's required, and who watched, and who's watching me now, and who's subscribed now, and it became, because I'm an all or nothing kind of guy, it became like a little bit obsessive compulsive for me. Mm-hmm. And so I had to swing the pendulum back, or I would become shitty husband, shitty dad, shitty all these things. So for me, Craig, it was an act of necessity that I have to resist myself. I had to get Instagram off of my first page, Nick, of my phone, because it was this dopamine habit that I would just like, whoa, I've got 30 seconds to kill at the stoplight. Let me just look at Instagram.
When you're growing quick, like I'm the same way. Like if I do something, I do it 100%. So like when I first grew the Instagram, I was 5 or 6 days a week posting. I was liking, commenting, engaging with everyone. And that's when like in the first year or two is when I went from 500 followers to 40, 50,000 in a year or two. And I was like, oh, wow, this is awesome. I'm just going to keep growing. And then like, when I started getting busy in practice and real life stuff, and then I got tired of like having to sit near a phone and having to post at between 1 and 2 and engagement hours are best. I just got sick of that. So like now I don't really do it as much, and I just post like the funny stuff or the good content when I get it.
But you reached that inflection point, right? So I think there's a tipping point, and I'm talking absolutely. Like I know because I've never reached that. I don't even know how many I have, Craig. Craig will tell you how many followers I have. But you probably reached that tipping point of what'd you say?
I said you have 275. I don't know. You have like 15,000 or something.
15,000.
Like
oh, there you go.
Well, it's all because of my wife's old reality show.
Just getting some of the.
Yeah, it's just that, I guess all the preteens that followed her were like, oh, we'll follow the husband too. So
yeah, you're awesome. 13,700. That's legit, man.
Yeah.
You're an influencer.
Anyway, what I was saying though, Nick, is I was giving you, there's probably an inflection point I'd like you to comment on, not me, that you pushed the ball up the hill, like you said, all that potential energy you created of followers getting online, doing 5 days a week. And it was like a job probably for you, right? Part-time job. Yeah. And then finally you're like, you got sick of it. But good thing was you pushed that ball up to the top, and now it kind of can roll down a little bit. You can ride some of that hard work, right? That kinetic energy, that potential energy you created is now kinetic.
Exactly. Like the other thing is like that I've kind of kept it alive is that I do get a lot of brand opportunities via it. So like, I've worked with Dentsply, Henry Schein, Colgate, Crest, almost Sensodyne. Tomorrow I'm posting a new Sensodyne. I'm releasing their new toothpaste.
Did they hit you up or do you hit them up?
They all hit me up. So like, that's my issue. Like, since I haven't been a practice owner, like my issue is that I don't really have the time to pay I don't have the money to pay someone to take it over and do these things. Cause like when I was first growing, I was getting emails every day. Hey, do you want to partner here? And it was like, I couldn't manage like responding to all the emails and figuring out how much money and the times. And it was like, that's something I'll do when I have my own place. I'll pay someone to like take care of it. So like, it's just tough. Like you constantly have to be about it. And like, since I'm in a tough spot as an associate, I guess it's just like, I guess that's an excuse, but it's just tough to do that.
No, I agree with what you're saying. I don't know if it's an excuse per se. We're saying this
doesn't help that you have like these monster commute times. Like I follow your stories and like some of these commutes are like an hour or more. I mean,
I'm getting 2 hours some days. Like, I work in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, which is like, it's about an hour and a half without traffic, but I live next to New York. So if I get out at 5 o'clock on the way back going home, it's 2.5 hours sometimes.
Why so many practices, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah. So like what I found was I like producing and I like working. Okay. So what I found was when I went to one office or two offices and I was there 3 days, maybe 4 for some of them, there's only like I think I've worked at 12 offices now. There was only one that actually had me booked like 4 days a week, jam packed, and I was like crushing it. But like all the other ones, every time I gave them more than 2 days, I would have like these 3 or 4 hour gaps. And I was like, why do this when I can associate at 5 places, be packed 5 days a week and just run and gun?
Meaning
that's why I did it.
The team only knows we only get Dr. Nick 1 day a week. Let's stack him up. right?
Yep.
Okay, I see. As
What
opposed to like,
what specific things do you do though in these practices? You said cosmetic surgery. What does that mean? What do you
like so cosmetics, like I do like I have like that place in Mount Laurel, like that guy, he likes just doing the all-on-4 implants. So like if he has anything with veneers or restorative stuff, I do it. I mean, I also do a ton of immediate implants. So some of the offices I go to, they don't do implants. So I do their immediate implants. I take care of that for them. I'm doing their molar endos. Like I'm essentially like sort of like a traveling specialist, to be honest with you, because I'm doing
super GP.
I'm doing all the specialty work at all the offices, to be honest with you, the stuff that they don't want to do.
That's awesome.
Great. They triage them for you. They get them all set up and they land them on your. I mean, they do all the heavy lifting, the enrollment of it, and then all of a sudden they land on your schedule. It's like, yeah, I'll knock it down. Sure.
Yeah, why not?
So there was a practice you said you spoke about that had you jam like 3 or 4 days a week. What happened there? Why did you wind up pivoting and going out to a different practice?
He sold the Dental 365.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was with him for a year.
What is that? An X-ray company?
Well, it's the DSO.
Never heard of that one.
I've never heard of that either.
Wait, you guys never heard that one?
No.
Are you serious?
No.
So
I mean, yes.
What I heard was last year it was the fastest growing DSO in the country.
Oh, no way.
Really?
Yeah, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, so they started in Long Island, and then they started taking all the Long Island, New York practices, and then I think we were going to be their second Jersey location. And this was in August when I started doing my own things, because I was supposed to buy into that place. He was building his own another operatory for me.
No way.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden,
surprise.
Yeah, all of a sudden, like it stopped being built, and everything's finished except the chairs there. And I'm like, it's been like 2 months. What's going on? And then he just brings me into the office, and we have a 2-week office shutdown starting the following Monday. And he brings me on a Thursday, and he goes, "Nick, I sold the office. When you come back for your 2-week break, I won't be the owner anymore." And he goes, "The owner's coming in tomorrow. He's going to talk to you." I was like, "What just happened?"
Can you believe people conduct themselves that way? I mean, I'm not throwing shade on the guy. I'm just saying, like, it's just. I could never imagine having a conversation.
Yeah, but what
like
was he going to do, Craig? Like, so
I understand
in his defense.
Perspective.
Yeah. What was he going to do? Hey, Nick,
I'm
thinking about selling. This is going to become an unstable environment in the next 6 months. You might want to leave, which will totally destroy the value of my practice.
Well, listen, there's a way to bring him in the fold. So he's selling. Because he has to. Let's look at the metrics of this. He didn't get paid all of his money up front. Number one, there's a holdback typically.
Maybe. So you don't know the deal.
So wait. So to cut you, he got 100% day one.
There you go, Craig. You don't know the deal.
His practice was, when I mean like production numbers, like I was probably doing close to 2 million, like 1.5 to 2 million as an associate doing 3 or 4 days a week. Because like that's how good his office was. He was doing probably 4 million himself. So so like that's what I mean.
Okay,
how crazy
let's
it was,
go down. Let's put our business hats on here for a second, okay? So he got 100% of his money up front. Dr. Nick, the powerhouse that's doing 2 million or $1.5 to $2 million a year, it's gone too. What did they actually buy?
So I kept in contact with everyone at the office, and we're talking about like people at this office have been there 20, 25 years. Sure. And like the treatment planning coordinator. Sure. No, thank you. The treatment planning coordinator is a dentist herself in a different country. Sure. She's been there 30. So like everyone there is just like, it's a machine.
Sure. Is he still there now? Is he still there?
So he's still there, but from what I heard, he had 3 years to stay after I left in August. And then in his contract, and this is half the reason why I didn't stay, his contract explicitly stated he was still allowed to cherry pick any cases that he wanted from my schedule for the next 18 months. And he wasn't supposed to tell me that. And I was like, I'm done with this cherry picking stuff. Like, you're not even the owner anymore. Like, why am I going to stay around for you to take whatever cases? Yeah. So anyways, I kept in contact with some of the other people, and like legitimately within like the first 3 months, there was like 6 or 7 employees were gone. Yeah. They were offering the hygienist crazy amounts of money to stay just because everyone's turning over.
Right.
The owners that cashed out, apparently he's taking all of his vacation time. He's like not really doing much. And I'm like, this sounds terrible.
Let me ask you, let's just have a conversation. Is this a surprise to anybody that this would happen?
No.
So I just don't understand the business model, because the business was Dr. Nick and Dr. Senior is what the business was. Dr. Nick one day is gone. 1.5, let's call it 1.8 million gone top line revenue. that is enough on a, you said he's probably doing 4 and you're doing 1.8. That's enough to put the practice probably into the red right there.
Yeah.
And then you take him out too. Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. And like they had some tough hires right after me too. Some like people who were actually younger than me who I went to dental school with. And there was like a lot of issues with the turnovers. And then apparently so he did have a periodontist who would come in like once a week, and she was great. But again, she left also when we were done. So like she was there for 10, 15 years. It was just, not great.
I mean, unfortunately, what you're describing is common. That's why I just started laughing. Like, but yeah, I mean, God bless them all. So yeah, I've never heard of that particular DSO, but it's just that's a very common practice, unfortunately. Peter, any thoughts on that?
No.
Sounds like they bought some providers, but they didn't really buy a business. But anyway.
Yeah. And because you don't know the economics of the deal, right? If it was 100%, right, Nick, we talk about this a lot. I know you listen to a few of our pods, but we talk about kind of the economics of exiting and things like that. And so typically if a private equity investor is going to put up 100% of the money with no clawbacks, no performance clauses, the owner, the person who says like, I just want to get the hell out of here, is selling it on discount, right? Because they're basically saying, I don't even trust in the future of this business without me. Therefore, you shouldn't either. And therefore you should buy, I'm going to sell this to you on sale because I just want to get the hell out. And so many dentists, unfortunately, get in this predicament where it's this like, oh, things are getting busy. I'm burnt out. And at the end, they're so burnt out and they just don't care. There's resolve. They just surrender. And I'll take anything as long as I don't have to do this anymore, kind of thing. Right. As opposed to like just getting to this comfortable pace of life where you're not burnt out. You're doing the dentistry you like. I know I'm going on a little bit of a tangent, but like you see this in a lot of people. It's this pendulum. And I always do this movement where it goes from like, just this, it's boom. I'm so busy, I can't stand it. And then I sold and I'm retired, and now I'm sitting on a beach. Now I'm sitting on a beach, and I don't know what to do with the rest of my life.
Right. Well, look at the advertising that the average DSO sends. I get these mailers all the time. There's one mailer, I'll leave the DSO nameless, but it's a guy, it's a doctor, about my age, probably mid-50s or whatever, and he's wearing mid-70s, right? Yeah. Half of him is in scrubs, and the other half of him is fishing. So it's basically like, do you not want to practice anymore? Great, we'll buy your business. What business is like, hey, you're a pizza maker, you're amazing. You don't want to make another pizza again?
Oh, I've seen that postcard. The one, they send it out to every dentist on the planet. You are right.
It's like, you want to spend more time fishing?
It's a publicly traded company, right?
Yeah, but how many people would buy a business? You're like, you're the business owner. You're like, I hate this. I want to get the fuck out. Like, I hate everything about it. I'm the best pizza maker ever, but I don't want to make another goddamn pizza ever again. I don't want to teach another guy how to make a pizza. Just give me my money and let me go.
All right, look, Craig.
Crazy.
I want to use Nick for his. I know we could rant on this all day because Nick, you probably have some funny stories.
Do an impersonation.
Well, maybe, but I also do want to leverage him for like, look, it's a unique skill set to be able to aggregate that kind of influence, right? Sure. Attention is power. Nick has generated power. And it's going to benefit for him for the rest of his career, whether it's aggregating patients, whether it's getting deals with manufacturers, whether it's getting supplies for free to then lower your overhead. This will manifest in all sorts of ways to your benefit because you put in the freaking work, Nick. That being said, are there some tips and tricks you can help us mere mortals who are listening to grow? Right? Whether it's the practice IG, the personal doctor's IG, do you have advice on having both or one? Should you have? So here's some other questions. Should you have one that's forward facing for dentists to show your gruesome surgery cases? Should you also then have one that's forward facing only for the patients to then new patients? All the things, and go.
So I think in terms of what kind of account you want, that's like something you have to discover first, because like, do you want to be someone who's like, let's say Dr. Appa, because he does the marketing, I guess, the best via the cosmetic, but you can tell like he doesn't have the bloody, the preps, like he doesn't have any of that on his page. Cause like personally, I would rather patients come to my page than dentists. That's just me personally.
You mean dentists don't give you money?
Well,
not yet.
dental companies
That's true.
do.
That's true. Well, I'm right, but I'm making a funny joke. Is that obviously other dentists don't pay the bills, and so Greg and I, we talk about this. So like this dental porn that you see sometimes, it's only to aggregate other dentists. It's great. It's great for the contribution to the community, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really move the needle forward.
No, it actually moves the needle the wrong way, because you get the veneer case. Like, hey, you shave those down to little points. Those pegs. You gonna do that shit to my teeth?
I found that picture.
Oh no, Diane.
I found those pictures. The cat teeth you did.
Exactly.
No, I mean, so like, I think that's like important in the beginning to figure out that way. Like for me, what I did was like, I can be funny. So like, and I'm pretty good at doing videos, and my brother helps. So like, I use the funny videos to get people to my page. And when they're on the page, oh, there's some beautiful cosmetic work there. I guess this guy's not just a funny guy. It seems like he's also a pretty good dentist. Like, so that was the way I do it. And like, yes, some of my dental videos are very dental related, dentist specific, but those things, like the video I just posted the other day, I haven't posted in a month and I got 50,000 views on it. And like, that's without posting for a month before it. So like, it's bringing the people to the page and doing something unique that not many.
It's a special skill, though, Nick, to be able to ideate content. And I know you know this, and apparently you have a lot of windshield time on your hands. So maybe that's where you think about like, oh, that would be a great topic, right? I should do something like that. Look at Dr. Mike did. So, but it still takes the creative brain to see, because I think the question I get the most from people is like, I don't know what to post, right? Like, I don't know what webpage to make. I don't know what Instagram post. I don't know how to make content. How do you ideate around your content?
So a lot of it is I follow a lot of dental accounts. I mean, obviously the bigger ones, like iDentistry, Dentistry Mire, the ones that repost all these old videos. So like you're constantly getting a feed of what the other videos are. So like if I see someone else posted something funny, you know, that kind of just gets my juices going. I can start thinking. But a lot of it, to be honest, is like when I'm driving to work in the morning for an hour, like if I think of something funny, I literally just jot it down, and on my notes on my phone, I literally just have video ideas. And then like typically what I'll do is I'll either ask my girlfriend or I'll ask my brother and be like, yo, do you think this would be a funny idea if we can like do it like this? And they'd be like, oh wait, that can be funny. And then like that's how we kind of get the creativity behind it. And then a lot of it is also brand wise too. So like when Sensodyne reach out to me to work on their new product that's coming out tomorrow, they asked me, can you do a serious video? And I was like, well, I have good stuff with my humor. So I was like, why don't we just do something funny while informative at the same time? Exactly. So like, I just, exactly. So
you lived authentically. That's awesome. Yeah.
So that's how I work with all the brands, and like, that's how it's worked pretty well. And like, to be honest with you, for like most people, if they want to know how much these brands are paying, like you can get anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000 a post if you do it the right way. So like, it's paying for me to go there. And so typically what I do is I go film on a Sunday when I'm off. So like I would just go film for 8 hours on a Sunday. I film 3 or 4 more videos for companies, and then I do whatever for myself, and then get the hell out of there. And my brother edits
That's
it.
Probably pretty fun.
So is your girlfriend a dentist by any chance?
She isn't.
Okay, got it.
Was your ex-girlfriend a dentist? The one that gave you the Dr. Mike idea? The one that put you on the map?
She was a nurse, so she's a nurse practitioner now. But
no, the reason why is because like you're running these ideas by your brother and your girlfriend about dental stuff. Like, you know how oral surgeons are. You know how they can be. And your girlfriend's like, yeah, why not?
That's like my brother, because like when we do these videos, like every pediatric dentist, I have like 30 different videos there, but he doesn't know which ones are funny. Right. I was like, you got to put Mr. Thirsty in there because everyone knows what Mr. Thirsty is. And he was like, I didn't think that was funny. I was like, that's a dentist thing though. And he did put it in the video, and I was like, so I just had to take a snapshot of it. But like, you're right. Not all the time do they know what the hell we're talking about.
I love your endodontist one. I sent it to my endo. What is that? You were like, is that the invisible rubber dam clamp or something?
Yeah, like, they're just like creepy guys. Like that's how I see it.
Shout out to Dr. Prue. Creepy mofo. You stare inside the canal. It's like,
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So when's the practice? What's the practice timeline? Talk to me about that.
So practice right now. So like, again, I started in August. I got the lease, I signed a letter of intent. I'm actually working with a consulting company. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Ideal Praxis, Jamie Amos.
Yep.
Oh yeah. I know who he is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I got on board with him. in August, and my financial advisors that I work with are like Dental Pacific. They did a bunch of companies, they did a bunch of practices with them. So that's how I got hooked up with them in terms of the whole thing. Now, what we're looking at is, unfortunately, the current tenant is not going to be out of the location until at latest August 1st. So June 1st to August 1st. And then obviously a 6-month build out after that, because I got 6 months free rent after to help build out. So we're probably looking February, February, March, maybe.
Got it. You got your financing all in order as well?
Yeah. So like, unfortunately, the construction costs, as you can imagine, are crazy high right now. And like, we're in Jersey City, which is like a very up and coming, like there's new condos, buildings, being built everywhere.
Good.
So like initially it was like $650. That's how much I got for my loan. And then 104 tenant improvement. And then we'll have to get another 50,000 from the bank. So we're looking at like, what is that, 800 around, I guess, for the build out.
That's the rich. It doesn't take money to make money. It takes leverage to make money. So I'm proud of you. It's a good move that you're making.
You haven't started construction though, correct?
No, because like, we just I've been getting all the construction bids because like the way that Ideal Practices work, they get 3 bids for everything. 3 bids for the equipment from 3 different people, from manufacturers, 3 different construction bids. So like, it's just a lot with all these different numbers flying around, and we just had to make sure it was reasonable first. Because
have they given you an indication of timeline? I mean, I was actually having a conversation in preparation for our summit. I'm actually doing a lecture or a track on kind of building and things. So I was getting some intel, since I'm not in the process of building an office right now. But I was talking to my contractor who only builds dental. Right, he builds. Big dental projects, and he was saying that literally it's 3 times, in some instances it's 3 times the amount of time it would typically take him. A 6-month build is taking almost a year and a half. Yep. Some of these are ground up though, Nick. So meaning the steel trusses, and he said if you're trying to get custom shit right now, like forget about it. He's like, I would encourage all the people listening to you, tell them to go get something that's stock on the shelf and then replace it later down the way if you want. Right. Meaning like if you're trying to get custom plumbing and custom fixtures and custom this and that, he said, basically no one went there. The workforce is so reduced on some of these big factories that they're not even looking at custom things right now. And he said another hack would be to order some of the things by yourself, meaning on Amazon. So if you find something you like, start like stockpiling, like, oh, I like these fixtures. Let me order 3 of these. Right. And you have a lot more control from the consumer than just going to deploy into the building versus trying to depend on the contractor manufacturer relationship, because it may not be available. So just a little side tip, because I did that a lot with my most recent build when I did a ground up construction. I would actually, I had probably $100,000 of Amazon orders of stuff that I wanted that I knew he couldn't get. Yeah, maybe not that high, but it was random things that I knew I could get, and it wasn't because of backlog. I just knew that like I saw it, I liked it, I knew I wanted it. Yeah. And so I got it and said, hey, I want you guys to put this here, so to speak. And I think that really sped things along. So food for thought on that. Definitely. From a timeline, because time is money, and you're going to be taking interest on that loan, right? Oh yeah. And guess what? Your bank doesn't give a shit about supply chain delays.
It's good for them. It's actually very good for them.
Yes. So they're telling me for construction now, it's 9 to 12 weeks. And obviously with me not moving into
9 to 12
weeks,
9 to 12 weeks for the build out for mine. That's all my.
Okay.
So you must be an interior remodel.
Interior
basically just an interior.
So where I'm looking to build I'm in a huge brand new apartment. It's called Cast Iron Lofts. It's a really big brand new building. So I'm taking old UFC gym. Hopefully, taking the UFC gym and then obviously just gutting out the inside of it, because I can't really do anything on the outside. So that's why 9 to 12 weeks they were saying.
Got it.
Tell me the logic with, is that pretty common in New York, going inside on the bottom of a residential?
Yes. So it's really hard to find space, obviously, in like Jersey City and Hoboken, because they're very popular places. Like most of these places will start in Hoboken, $45 a square foot to $100 a square foot. Like those are all the places I looked at, which are
base rent too, right?
Base rent.
That's insane.
Like for a startup, imagine $45 a square foot at 2,600 square feet. Like So like, luckily the place that I found was only $30 a square foot, because it's considered in a developmental zone where there's all brand new condo buildings, being brand new parks. So it's like a good location for it. And that's why I had to jump on this one like really fast. Just because
are they giving tenant improvement allowance right now, or are they just saying,
take 104 I'm getting for it?
Oh, that's good.
That's pretty good.
You probably signed a 10-year lease, I'm guessing, right?
7-year. 10-year. We didn't sign it yet. That the lawyers are reviewing it right now. But
how many options do you have, just out of curiosity?
2 5-year options.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good. I always tell people the base rent is for the benefit of the the landlord, and the options are to your benefit. So the more options you can get, because you obviously don't have to exercise them, but it's a good thing to have. So,
and is your interest rate fixed? Do you have a construction or permanent type of situation? Or?
So you mean from the bank?
Yeah, for the bank. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wish I signed my Bank of America one. They gave me a 299. Like
shit, I would have told you to sign that like forever. Borrow as much as possible. Actually, if you listen to the last year of podcasts, we're like, borrow money, borrow as much as they'll give you.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, and so I had it at 299. I signed the whatever, and then last week they messaged me like it's 399 now. And I was like, you didn't even tell me. I would have took out the money or something.
No, they won't tell you.
They just hiked it. So now I'm waiting for another one. So who knows? It's 399, I guess.
Does your consulting company handle your banking relationships?
So what they just connect. They're essentially a Rolodex. They give you the names to contact, and you're doing most of the stuff.
But for the review of that, they didn't tell you you better sign this and take as much as they'll possibly give you.
So they'll tell you that. I mean, in the beginning, they tell you this is how much you're going to need for construction, for equipment, and they give me a budget. So I have an Excel sheet with 10 of the budgets in for everything. So I know hey, they put out 150 for equipment, and then we just kind of move money around the way. So they did guide me through that and filling out the correct things. So definitely, yeah.
Craig, I think that's
listen. 399 is great still. I mean, it's
still
awesome.
Great. Well, guess what? Awesome, right? It's great. Given that today, as we're recording, 30-year money with 30-year mortgage for a house is 6.7%. So it is that is still quote unquote cheap money, Nick. And look, and you're putting it in the confines of your business, which is always tax deductible.
So you're going to be paying
a home loan, which is it starts to phase out. Right? There's a limit that you can have from your deductibility of your primary home. So this is a good thing, and you're doing the right thing. You're going to be successful. This whatever interest rate it happens. I can just feel it. So
my first loans were at 6.5-7% back in the day.
Yeah, but that's because you got started with the era of Jimmy Carter and things were super high.
Right. It was terrible. When I built my first practice in 1920, Nick, it was really hard. Really.
How many do you have now?
Well, no, just my. I'm saying my location. I just have one.
Oh, I thought you had multiple for some reason.
No, I have one large location. Peter has several large locations.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, Craig, when you got started, those rotary, those belt driven handpieces were so expensive. No,
actually we had an egg beater handpiece. You had to crank it really fast.
The assistant cranking it.
Yeah. Making fires.
So what do you, just out of curiosity, I know we brought you on, because you have such a prowess online but what are your concerns as a practice owner? What's in the head of Nick right now? What are your concerns as you're entering this next phase of life? Right? With taking on debt and risk and you're probably thinking we did back in the day, do I have the chops to do this shit by myself? Maybe you don't, maybe you do. I don't know. But what's in your head right now? Yeah.
So I was in a really good headspace for a while. And then I'm kind of if I don't like the practice, I just leave, I won't work there, if I don't think they're doing the right thing. So I have a very strong personality. So even when I start at new places, if they don't have the correct stuff or there's something I don't like about it. And it's at some point to me, it was just I have to do my own place because you're not seeing eye to eye with anyone in any of these places. And I even, the place I left in Jersey City, I got offered partnership there too. And he's a great guy, brand new office. It's really nice, but it's just I have to do it myself. That's how. Tell
me why. I want to get into your head about the Jersey City guy. Why didn't you want to partner in there? Or let's go. It's too fresh. Why did you want to partner with the guy that sold to Acme DSO? Why did you want to partner there?
So he was doing a lot of the cases that I wanted to be doing all the time. He was doing he was good buddies with Larry Rosenthal. He was graduated around the same time with him. You know, he was doing all the comprehensive veneer cases, full arches, like crazy. Yeah. So like I was learning a lot from him because he was essentially giving me the Larry Rosenthal treatment every single day. I was watching what he was doing chairside. They had me fully jam-packed, good fees, good reimbursements. They knew what they were doing. So like, that's why I liked that place, because it was comfortable. The assistants, very highly trained, you know, they were the best of the best assistants, just everyone there. It was a family environment also. I mean, that was the good thing about it. You felt like there was a family when you were working there. And that's why I knew, like, I thought that was going to be a place. And not only that, I was from the town that it was in. So like, it just made sense. All my family members can come there. My high school people, anyone I knew can come there. And it was unfortunate that it just kicked out, but you know, it just seemed to have everything at the time.
Well, you might have a chance to make that your location number 2 in the future. Yeah. with the way things are going.
You may get it for pennies on the dollar.
You might get it for pennies on the dollar.
Yeah, they were that DSO, they were really aggressive with me too. They were like, we'll build your practice anywhere you want in Jersey. You know, we'll make you a partner of the DSO. And I was like, oh, can we get this on paper? And they were like, why don't you just work for us as an associate for a little bit? We'll get that paperwork together.
Yeah, because we're going to flip to another private equity, and then you can get that shit on paper with the next guy.
So I was just like, I'm sorry, I'm not doing it.
It's hot potato.
Yep.
That's awesome. So that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, so what's heavy on your head right now?
Yeah, what else are your concerns?
What are your concerns about going
Well,
forward?
like now it's just like the concerns is just like, are patients going to come in? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, that's the thing that's making me nervous now. The construction costs, I'm in Jersey City. It's not like I'm just going to a random town. Like there's so much competition in that area that like not many dentists open up their own places around these, especially as startups. It's usually they go in with someone, or they're an older dentist and this is their final practice that they're making their beautiful retirement one. So like, that's what I'm really just concerned about, is like paying the bills, getting the patients in the door. And that's why
did the site selection make you choose this, or did you choose it based on the availability? Meaning, go ahead.
We did demos for the area, and I think this location was like 2,400 to 1 or something. Okay. So it was what they were looking for is that this 2,000 to 1 is what they were recommending.
Okay.
I don't know. Your thoughts on that?
I think that's a little anemic, but I mean, meaning a little bit too fierce. I personally, look, you are not, but they're factoring in my caveat to that. They are factoring in all dentists in that population, which you are already like top of the top. So like,
Nick,
some of those metrics you can't pay attention to.
Yeah. Think about your dental school and picture the random people in your dental school. They need a different demographic than you do. You're not a normal guy. You wouldn't have risen to where you are. All the things that make you successful, you're bringing this to the new environment. I mean, I'm like the same guys as Acme DSO. I'd be like, hey, listen, I'd invest you in a heartbeat. I saw you on Instagram, what you do. Your cases are beautiful. You know, you're a charismatic guy. You're going to do well no matter what. And this is normal, by the way. When I built a 13,000 square foot dental office, when I moved in, I sat in my office crying, like, what the fuck did I do? Like, this is crazy. I had a mortgage payment that was due like $45,000. I'm like, what was I thinking? So
do you have family members in dentistry? Like your parents in? See, my parents didn't even go to college. It's like, I'm the first one. So
it's even better. Like, makes a better story.
Dentist. Same here, Nick. Same here. So going back to the ratio of population to dentists, you know, I think it's fine probably in that area where you're more densely populated. You know, that's probably going to be where you're going to be. I personally like it to be north of 4,000. But again, it's different in Georgia. It's different in Florida.
A different location.
I understand, Craig. I'm teaching this as a broadcasting teaching method for other people hearing it, saying, "Oh, that's a good number to kind of look at." But it doesn't matter for your intensive purposes. Like Craig said, like look at your dental school class. Do you think that you were a standout in that? And the answer is yes.
Put Nick in Fayetteville, Arkansas, where it's put Nick in Fayetteville, Arkansas, where it's 6,000 to 1. Like, whoa, what the hell is that doctor over there? I don't understand that. New York.
It's funny because like one of the offices I work at, it's a periodontist office, and they accept like half Medicaid. So like some of the times I'm going in there and I'm doing like Medicaid crowns and then like fee for service crowns right next to each other. And they're like, they give me 20 minutes to do like 2 or 3 crown preps. And I'm like, how can people practice? Like, this is insane. And it just, my vibe of me being in that Medicaid office, they only have 1 air water syringe in the operatory too, which is like wild to me. And it's on the assistant side. But like as you guys can see, like my energy in those type of places is like, don't go very well.
Well, you just have to have like a really long tube, like a 12-foot tube, and it could be just roll it up or put it like one of those retractor things that they have in the garages, pull the air hose down. It's crazy, man. I mean, people don't have visions for their dental practice. They, it's literally like they don't stand for anything. To have Medicaid, I mean, I'm not trying to pick on the guy, but like it's hard to have Medicaid and fee for service in the same office at the same time. Yeah. Like I've been in offices, like I've been in doctor's office. There's like people having a picnic, like a family of 4, like brought in food and they're eating in the waiting room. And I'm like, what kind of vibe
is going on here?
It's hard. So
Nick,
yeah.
Do you primarily focus on Instagram?
Yeah. I try, I don't know. Do you guys do TikTok that much? Are you?
We do by proxy. Like I have had a videographer who was just kind of a TikTok pro. And so he does tons of views on that. He's since moved on to bigger things, which is fun, which is cool. But, so yes, we were doing it, but not, I wouldn't say I had the skill set of TikTok.
So my always thing that like I was concerned with TikTok. TikTok's a very young demographic. Exactly. So like how many 12-year-olds are going to mom, I want veneers. And then like, they're like, to me, Instagram, Facebook still has a little bit of the older crowd that can afford these types of things. So like, that's why I always sided towards Instagram. And like TikTok, I just don't like some of the content. Like a lot of it is just like lip syncing over a viral song or something like that. So like, that's why I just never was really into that.
Yeah, I think the tide is changing. I think they're grabbing more and more market share. I think more of the people who have the money are going to be maybe shifting towards TikTok. But but you're right. Like, it's almost like you can use the database of the people you already have in your practice. Meaning, find your ideal patient who's kind of the avatar, and then like, hey, Kathy, you got a lot of money, you've done well in life, you got a lot of rich friends. Like this is the kind of treatment. Like, what do you think of TikTok? Okay. And she's like, oh, none of my friends use that shit. Like that's for kids.
Her daughter
like,
might use it.
Then but to Nick's point, right? It's then you kind of know. But all of a sudden you start seeing the trend, and I think as dentists, it behooves us. The more you can kind of be on the verge, on the front end, the bleeding edge of some of these things, you can win. Right? Mm-hmm. You can win in marketing, and you can have cheap CPM. The cost per 1,000 views per second, it can be extra low, because it's based on the competition. That's why, like, for instance, AdWords is so expensive. The clicks on AdWords and Google AdWords, it's not called AdWords anymore, it's just called Google Ads. But the clicks for quote unquote just dentists in your area might be $30 if someone clicks on your ad. That's because it's supply and demand. There are so many dentists who have been influenced to advertise on that platform because it's quick and easy to get an ad up.
You're competing in a very competitive market.
Very competitive space.
Yeah. I mean, listen, you've got videography. You're comfortable on camera. That's your special sauce right there. Right. So to chop up a 15-second pre-roll on YouTube is going to be the most cost.
You don't do YouTube, Nick?
So my plan was once the practice was 100%, I signed the lease and I can start building a YouTube for the office. Cause like my issue now is I can't tag an office in this. I can't have where am I sending a patient from YouTube right now? That was my tough thing. So like my plan was to hit TikTok and YouTube hard. Like once I get this practice location, cause right now I'm not even allowed to film in my other offices cause they won't let me. They're like, you can't film here.
Nick, I'm just spitballing here, but why don't you have a day of virtual consults, so you don't, where you actually inbound these people, like, hey, interested in veneers, I want to, take you through the process, and do a video, put it on your IG, put it on YouTube, whatever, and then literally have them just go to your website, your own URL, book them for consults, be like, okay, you live near Jersey City, great, well, in 2 weeks I'll be there, or, you live near this location, Hoboken, whatever it is, and book them there, and actually bring them in through your own virtual consults, because you're conflating the idea that you need the consult visit to be at a physical space. You don't need it. You can consult with them anywhere, like you're doing with us right now. It's just an idea.
Yeah, and there's good softwares. Like I use the one called Smile Snap, and it's good. I mean, it's a great virtual one. There's a lot of, unfortunately, a lot of tire kickers that you get. A lot of people submitting that aren't necessarily serious about getting it.
But you got 4
honestly,
hours of time in the
I was
car.
just about to say that, Craig. You can actually do it in the car, and you can look at their pictures and be like, "Hey,
car consults."
And you send back a video that says, "Hey, Kathy, looked at your pictures. I looked at your car consults with Nick." Like a car consults
with Nick, and then record them. Can I use this? And that'd be so funny. Like, well, you don't find any veneers. You're missing your front tooth. That's okay.
You have a space the size of a tooth in there. We can't actually do veneers because you'd need 3 central incisors.
It's like I used to do that with Invisalign. People would come in for Invisalign. We always take a pano when they come in, and like, yes, I'm here for Invisalign. I'm like, when's your last dental visit? Like, well, I've never had one. I'm 45. And you look at their teeth, and you're like,
there's no
literally like built-in shock absorber. As they bite down, they flex out. Just like literally moving. Their video is variable.
I think that. But look, I mean, all jokes aside, I think that's a great thing for you to leverage some of the time as the day to start building your practice. I think what Craig is saying is not when you open your doors, right? Yeah. Also, don't make the mistake, which I think so many dental practices do. Don't take people weekly through your construction zone. No one gives a shit.
Yeah, no one does. No,
right? And honestly, like no one wants to see how the sausage is built anyway.
I love
you
that.
Did.
I love
Craig,
that.
you do because you're the dentist who's interested, right? Like the Dr. O thing you just sent me today.
Oh, I love that stuff.
At the end of the day, you get one chance to make a first impression. And I think people should see, and look, have I ever done the construction picture? Yes. But now, like, I just see that people, you're not making an impact with them because you can't actually serve them, meaning you're creating the demand, but then you're not able to fulfill that demand because you don't have a facility. So show them the wow when you're done, in my opinion. Yeah, but use that time to leverage your IG and being an influencer.
Also, spend the money once you get your plans done to put it into robust 3D imaging software so that you can have actual images and put them on IG, like realistic, like Revit type software. Yeah. They can actually model it. It'll cost you a little bit of money. They outsource that stuff to Brazil and other, to Eastern Europe, but it makes it look so real. Like I had that of my office, and I built my office so long ago. There's better software now, but you can literally look inside the office. You'll have awesome pictures. People won't know if it's real or not.
Yeah, that would be a better tour going through and to talk about the vision of what you're going to do in those spaces. I like Craig versus like, hey, this is a 2x4 room with cement. In here's where we're going to be doing consultations in my veneer cases. Like no one gives a shit. Do not show them that, in my opinion. But Craig, you're right. Show the vision and the pretty the visualization of what you're going to be doing, right? Because people can dream, that's going to be beautiful, right?
Yeah,
versus it's 2x4s. I can't imagine.
Yeah, that. Can't see it. It makes sense.
This is awesome, dude. It's good to get to know you, I'm glad you're going through this process. I'm glad you're jumping out and starting on this journey. I know it's scary, but it's Craig, would you bet on Dr. Nick at this point?
Yeah, of course. Listen, I'm the guy that's always kind of pumping the brakes for people, but listening to your why of why you wanted to buy, why you wanted to do your own thing, it's compelling. It's not like, I can't make the money I want to make, or I want to. It's actually you have a unique way of viewing your profession, a unique way of viewing your practice, and needs to be right for you. And I can hear that in your voice. Many people don't have that. So you can't let that die on the vine. You have to take action on it. But I also encourage you, like Peter gave you some advice, don't say that since you don't have your own practice, you can't do things. There's so many things you can do. Like even if it's just building the vibe for it, or building the demand for it, or those virtual consults and sending them to locations. I would love as an owner. A lot of my doctors are influencer on Instagram. They're bringing their own patients. It's freaking awesome. And maybe even negotiate a different rate, by the way. Tell your existing doctors that you're working with, say, hey, I'm going to be spending some significant money promoting myself. If I bring these patients completely out of your office to these cosmetic cases, can I get a blank fee increase on those? Why not?
Yeah, Nick, no, I actually do have a higher percent at all my offices for that. For that.
Nick, do you have a ton of windows in this new building, I'm guessing?
That's why, I like open space, big windows. So
the second you sign this, is the lease signed? I didn't hear that part.
Not quite yet. Maybe
the second you signed it, make the most beautiful window vinyls you've ever seen, right? As opposed to having paper on the windows where people are like, oh, it's construction zone. Have you in your face, you're a good looking guy. People, you're a personality, your Instagram, like Dr. Nick is coming, soon kind of thing. Like you leverage the shit out of that window space.
Yeah,
right?
that'd be great. Sure. I didn't think about that.
Obviously it blocks the construction is the point.
Yeah.
And then you're going to pull it off when you're done. But like, you're building this. You're building
you can put
this
a monitor
hype.
in the window. You could put a multimedia display in the window. Why not?
Oh yeah,
just box it in.
Flash it. Idea. Yeah, it's a great idea.
But I do like the idea of spending the money and make the 3D renderings and make them realistic as hell. You can actually put yourself in them. They're pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we've taken a lot of your time.
Wait, Nick, I have one last question. Question because I want to finish on why we brought you on as the influencer, right? If do you have any advice to someone, let's say there's a doctor or someone listening, regardless of age, regardless of where they live in the United States, do you have any advice on getting started? Let's say someone has the grand visions of doing what you've done, do you have any advice, anywhere place to get started? Like what advice would you give someone listening?
My advice is like follow accounts that you want to be like. Okay. Because like by seeing those every single day, that like gets your mindset, oh wow, this guy's posting 6 days a week and I'm posting 0. Like, and that's what first got me motivated, to be honest with you. And then it's just getting the content out there. Like you just like, it sucks because like not every content's gonna be perfect, but like when I was successful in the beginning, I was planning my posts out like a month in advance. And I was like saying, these are my 5. Yeah. And it was like these 5 this week, these 6 this week, this 4 this week. And I'd film all my videos on one day. And like, that's usually what I do. Like, I don't just film it randomly. Like, I do it one day. I'm like, we're getting 20 videos this day. And then you have it. You can use it for 2 or 3 months instead of just waiting for the time to do it. Oh, I'll do it in between patients. That's hard to do.
That is hard. And it never happens. So that's really genius. A film day, be very like, aggregate the things you want to film and then do a film day on your off day. Right. Yep. That's really, really good advice.
And take photos of all your before and after cases and just keep a Dropbox with them. And that's what I do. And then whenever I can post a case, I just go on my Dropbox and post it, on Instagram. That's it.
That's good. So. That's good advice. Craig, anything else?
Yeah, Nick, I think you're going to do amazing. I know you're going to do amazing, but I also want to just thank you because I think accounts like yours and what you stand for and what you do are just not only good for you personally, but good for dentistry. And there's a lot of people that are looking at you and saying, if that guy can do it, maybe I should consider going into dentistry or changing what I'm doing. And I think it's inspirational. And I love that fact that you use like humor as kind of like the Trojan horse to get people into your website, into your Instagram, and then show them this amazing before and after. So it's not like you're not a silly guy. You're using humor, but you're also skillful, and it's really well done.
Dentistry needs some more humor, so I love what you're doing.
I appreciate that, guys. I thank you very much, and obviously, I look forward to watching you guys' stuff all the time, and you guys have done a great job for the profession, also.
But anyway, buddy, it's good. Thanks for spending time with us. I know you got a hard stop here, and I appreciate your time, and hope to connect in person one day.
Yeah, absolutely, and thanks again, guys. I appreciate you guys having me on too. This was great.
Congratulations. Keep up the great work, buddy.
All right, guys. I'll see you.
Hey, buddy.